You guys, we're finally here. A couple of weeks ago, I told you guys that I had a goal to finish working 18 days in a row. And we're finally here. So I'm gonna let you guys know exactly what my experience was like, how many hours I had to work per day for those 18 days in a row, what I expected my paycheck to look like at the end of that run, and what my actual paycheck looked like at the end of the run. And because I'm always fully transparent with you guys, I'm going to be revealing my paycheck towards the end of this video. And if you want to know more details about how the nurses I work with get paid during a run, make sure you watch this video over here for more details. And with that said, let's move on to the video. Alright guys, the first thing I want to bring up is why exactly I decided to work 18 days in a row. Well, for those of you that have been following us on social media, you probably know that Monica and I just recently had a baby. And because of that, we still have some baby bonding time available that we are going to be taking towards the end of this year. In fact, starting next week, Monica and I are both going to be off from work for the next 3 weeks. For 2 of those weeks, I will still be getting paid by the state, but Monica won't be receiving a paycheck because she has taken all of her baby bonding time. Monica and I are dedicated to investing at least $6,000 of our pre and post-tax dollars every single month. So we had to pick up extra shifts at work in order to compensate for the time that we're going to be off from work. For me, because of the way that my template is structured, I had to work at least 18 days in a row in order to qualify for run pay and not overwork myself in the process. Monica, on the other hand, usually matches her schedule with mine, and she will pick up on the days that I work. But she did it a bit different than I did. Instead, she worked a couple of 16-hour shifts, and she did not work a run during the 18 days that I decided to work my run. Now, before this 18-day run, the most amount of consecutive days that I've ever worked in a row as a nurse was 7 days. So the first thing I had to do was to continuously give myself some positive reinforcement, knowing that there was this beautiful monetary reward at the end of this run. So every single day that I would come into work, I would tell myself, Jason, you only have 17 days left. Jason, you only have 16 days left. Jason, you're halfway there. You can do this. But another thing that happened over the last couple of weeks that you guys aren't aware of yet is that I switched from an 8-hour shift position working evenings to a 12-hour shift position working nights. So that transition alone, going from evenings to nights, is kind of taking a toll on me as it is. But anyways, I want to show you guys exactly what my template looks like without the run, so you guys know exactly which additional hours I had to pick up in order to connect my run. In my current 12-hour night shift position, the way that my schedule is structured, I come in Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. I get 7 days off, and then I return to work on Wednesday from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. I get 2 days off, Thursday and Friday, and then I repeat that process every single pay period. I get a total of 9 days off every 2 weeks and still earn $153,000 per year. So I'm gonna show you what my template used to look like before I switched to nights. Alright, as you can see here, the hourly rate used to be slightly lower, and I used to come in Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday from 3 p.m. to 11 p.m. I would also be off for 7 days in a row, and I would return to work on Wednesday and Thursday from 3 p.m. to 11 p.m. I would then have Friday off and repeat that process every single pay period. And as you can see in the bottom left here, my yearly rate used to be $116,973. But again, if you've watched my run pay video, you would know that if I were still on an 8-hour shift template, I would qualify for overtime. That is time and a half after my 8 hours of work on a single day. That means any additional hours of work over 8 hours from the 8th hour to the 12th hour would be paid at time and a half. Any hour worked over 12 hours in a single day would be paid at double time. Now, any hour worked over 8 hours for a 12-hour shift employee is not paid at time and a half. That is the downside of working as a 12-hour shift employee. However, as a 12-hour shift employee, you are always guaranteed those 12 hours of work every single day that you are scheduled to work. And that also means that you are guaranteed a higher yearly rate than somebody who just works their base 8-hour shift template. And when it comes to overtime at the Kaiser hospital that I and Monica work for, lately we have been getting pre-booked for our overtime shifts. But even if you don't pre-book, every single day they are sending out notifications asking people to come in and pick up overtime shifts. So from 70 to about 90% of the year, there will be overtime available to pick up. And as a matter of fact, the only time that I didn't see any overtime availability was at the beginning of the pandemic last year. Almost every single day before that and every single day after that has had overtime availability. All right, but now that you guys know what my actual work template looks like, let me show you guys how many hours I picked up every single day in order to connect my run. And again, if you guys want to know what the specifics are to how a nurse gets paid during a run, make sure you watch my video on how nurses I work with are making at least $20,000 per month net while working a run. Just watch this video here and you're gonna understand the rest of this video much better. Okay, so I told many of you that I start my work cycle on a Saturday. So the pay period you see here does not include the Saturday where I began my run because it was my first day of work after being off for 7 days in a row. But this Sunday is the beginning of the pay period, and that's the day they start counting all of the hours that I'm working for that pay period. So I work 12 hours on Sunday, 12 hours on Monday, and I work 12 hours on Tuesday. The last 3 hours of that Tuesday, I started getting paid time and a half because apparently I had already exceeded 40 hours of work. Then on Wednesday, I had a 2-hour meeting on the evening shift. I also came into work from 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. I did the same thing on Thursday and I did the same thing on Friday. On Saturday, it is my 7th day premium. On that particular day, I got paid at double my regular rate. So I came in from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. earning $196 per hour. The following day, I came in at 7 p.m. and left at 11 p.m. But because Mondays are known to be the worst days of the week in any emergency department that I've ever worked in, including this one, because the census and the acuity is always extremely high, I did not want to overwork myself on that Monday by coming during the peak hours. So what I decided to do was leave at 11 p.m. on Sunday and return 4 hours later at 3 a.m. and work from 3 a.m. on Monday to 7 a.m. on Monday. Guys, this meant that I had two options. I could have either gone back home, rested for about an hour, and then returned to work. Or I could have stayed in the parking lot and slept for a couple of hours and then returned to work. So, guess which one I did? You guessed it, I slept in my car for about 3 hours and then I returned to work on the 4th hour. Alright, so now that I've worked from 3 a.m. to 7 a.m. on Monday, I did not have to return till the following day, which meant I could have returned from 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. to continue the same process I had started at the beginning. But I decided to come in from 3 a.m. to 7 a.m. that Tuesday to extend the amount of time I had off between shifts. Then, if you come in from 3 a.m. to 7 a.m. on one day, and then you return that same day from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m., you would get the double time differential for 4 of those hours because you would have worked a total of 16 hours within a 24-hour period. But the reason I don't include the double time rate for 4 of those hours in this run is because there was an error when I submitted my time card and the double time rate is not reflected in my paycheck this pay period. So anyway, I worked 3 a.m. to 7 a.m. on Wednesday, returned 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. on Wednesday to Thursday. On Thursday, I worked 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. and then on Friday, I came in from 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. Then on Saturday, I worked another 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. shift and I got paid double my hourly rate for the full shift. And again, these are just 14 days of the 18-day run that you don't completely see in this screenshot here. But let's move on to the second pay period. You guys already know that after the second pay period, every consecutive day of work is going to get paid at time and a half until you reach the 7th straight day in a row. Every 7th day will get paid at double your regular rate. But because I ended my run on the 18th day, that is where my time and a half also ended. So as you guys can see here, I got paid time and a half Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. This Thursday, I had a class from 3 p.m. to 11 p.m. and I got paid the evening shift differential for that one. And then I returned to work Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday before I'm off for my 3 weeks of baby bonding time. So let's quickly rewind. rewind. During my first pay period, I worked a total of 110 hours. That's 55 hours on average per week, and my anticipated gross was going to be $15,732 for the pay period. And that doesn't include the entire 18 days because we get paid in chunks of 14-day stretches. Then for the second pay period, my anticipated gross earnings are $8,415. My net pay with 401k deductions was going to be $4,782. But because in the first pay period, I finally maxed out my 401k, this second pay period does not include 401k deductions, and my anticipated net earnings are going to be $5,619 for a 2-week pay period. And the moment you guys have all been waiting for is how much did I actually get paid? Alright, as you guys can see here, my base rate is $86 per hour. My gross for 14 of those 18 days was $15,460. That is $15,460 in 14 days for 110 hours of work, or 55 hours of work per week. My pre-tax deductions, which includes $2,610 for my 401k and $132 for my FSA. And I'm sorry to tell you guys, but I did cheat a little bit in this paycheck because I went exempt. So my pay is going to be higher than it would have been had I not gone exempt, obviously. But Monica and I only go exempt once or twice a year, depending on how much we're earning that year. So the total amount of tax deductions I received this pay period was $1,356. My net take-home pay was $11,361. Had I not gone exempt and still contributed $2,700 in pre-tax dollars to my 401k and my FSA, I would have ended up with a total of $8,287 for the pay period. Next, I'll briefly discuss what Monica's hours look like and how much she got paid by revealing her paycheck, and then I'm going to let you guys know if it was actually worth it or any other issues that might have come up during my run. Okay, so as you guys can see here, Monica usually works 8-hour shifts. She actually worked a 16-hour shift before this pay period began, but you can see here that she worked Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday from 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. She took 2 days off and returned Saturday and Sunday, had 3 days off, and then returned for a 16-hour shift. So Monica's anticipated gross pay was going to be $7,926 for the pay period. And her net pay, if she's not contributing to her 401k, should be $5,334 per pay period. Now, let's take a look at her paycheck. As you can see here, Monica's base rate is $102 per hour. What I also failed to mention previously is that our night shift differential is not included in our base rate. But Monica's base rate plus her differential is going to bring Monica's hourly rate to $114 per hour. As you can see here, her gross earnings were $8,703. She contributed a total of $1,131 towards her 401k, and she did not go exempt this pay period like I did, so her total tax deductions were $2,814, and her net take-home pay was $4,682. Now, some of you are probably wondering, was it worth it? In my opinion, at the end of this run, I told myself I will never work another run again. But when I actually look back and I think to myself, was it hard? And the answer to that is no, it really wasn't hard. I came in for 4 hours on my days off. And guys, you gotta remember, I'm off 9 of those 14 days that I work. So coming in for 4 hours on those days that I have off was really not much of a big deal to me. It also meant that I could still spend time with my family, but the one thing that did suffer was our YouTube channel because I wasn't able to create any videos during this time that I was working. But a good thing that came out of this video is that I can show you guys what my experience was like. Now, because I was only coming in for 4 hours on my days off, I didn't feel like it was taking too much of a toll on my body. And when I come into work, I always do it with a positive attitude no matter how lousy I feel. So every single day that I come into work, I always give it my best and I always put in 100% no matter what. And I'll be completely honest, I work with some nurses that work way more days than I would ever work in my life. And looking at these nurses at work, you would never be able to tell because the majority of them come to work and give it 110% every single time they come to work. I mean, after all, that's why we became nurses in the first place. That is why we've made it through this pandemic, and that is why we will continue to make it through every other pandemic, no matter what obstacle comes our way. So again, when you guys ask me, was it worth it? Yes, it was definitely worth it, and I might do it again in the future because, as many of you know, Monica and I are trying to reach early retirement in less than 10 years. So if we have to work extra hard to get there sooner, you better be sure that I'm gonna be doing that. So if you found any value in this video, and if you guys wanna know exactly how we spend our monthly income, then go ahead and click on this video here. And if you wanna know exactly how we invest at least $6,000 per month, go ahead and click on this video here.